Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Laci and Scott Peterson are one of the darkest love stories in American true crime. Today, I am going to be reopening their Synastry with the full chart data. 3 years ago, I covered this case without the chart in the video, and this time I have it. I have it all here with the aspects and the asteroids that no other astrologer uses. So I'm going to get started. His moon conjuncts her south node, 1 degree. This says that this wasn't their first lifetime together. It was familiar, karmic, and already carrying unfinished business. But what kind of unfinished business? Emotional repayment because of the moon sitting there. One owed the other safety or care that never materialized. And this lifetime, the replay twisted into tragedy, showing how karmic bonds can rot when the soul refuses to evolve. Now here is where it gets eerie. His Eros, the asteroid of erotic energy, is exactly conjunct her Scott asteroid, 0 degrees, and her Eros conjuncting his Scott by 1 degree. You can't make this up. Eros is the spark that turns eroticism into fixation. When someone's name, PNA, asteroid, gets hit by Eros both ways, that's not just chemistry, that's identity level desire. Their very names lit each other up. It's magnetic, personal, and intoxicating. And with this mirroring of those asteroids, it's the kind of passion that blurs into possession. And that possession doesn't stay romantic for long. Because his Pluto and his Rocha asteroid, that's her maiden name, it's conjuncting, it's right on her vertex, 2 degrees. The vertex is that faded doorway, the meeting point that you don't walk through by accident or chance. When someone's Pluto lands there, it's power meeting destiny, and her own name asteroid, Rocha to the mix, this suddenly, her very identity is tied to his control, his shadow, and his pull because of Pluto. So what did he bring to her? Pluto is the modern ruler of death, and with his Pluto conjuncting her vertex with her own name there, it says everything. He didn't just cross her path by fate, he became the agent of that fate, the shadow that ended her story. And here's another aspect that cuts deep. Her Juno, the marriage asteroid, and Rocha, her maiden name asteroid, and Dejanira, the victim asteroid, are all conjuncting his moon by 2 degrees. That's emotional fusion with a dark undertone. His moon absorbed her energy through marriage, name, and victimhood, all tied together. To him, she became the emotional mirror of possession and dependency. To her, it was devotion that turned dangerous. The emotional bond deepened and darkened because Nessus, which always has to do with abuse, it conjuncts her Venus by 0 degrees. That's love meeting toxicity. Venus wants affection, beauty, safety, and Nessus twists it. It's when love becomes control, when desire crosses the line into abuse. And the bad asteroids here keep showing up, and not in a good way at all. His Nemesis and Chiron both conjunct her Philomela and Jupiter in Aries. Now, Philomela's myth is brutal. She was violated by a man who was supposed to protect her, and when she tried to tell the truth, he cut out her tongue so she couldn't speak, and then abandoned her. Her Philomela is at 2 degrees Aries, a Mars-ruled sign. Mars governs violence and Aries rules the head. So in her case, the symbolism is hauntingly literal. When she was found, not only was her tongue gone, but her head was too. Philomela in Aries, it speaks through the body when the voice is stolen. It's rage, silenced truth, and vengeance written in blood. And it's as if the myth itself actually wasn't enough, because the next aspect drags this whole symbolism straight into the underworld. His Osiris, Egyptian god of the dead, sits in his 8th house and falls into her 4th house, which rules the home and the family, and that is exactly where her life ended. Her requiem, the asteroid tied to death and funerals, sits in the 4th house and is conjunct the south node from the 8th house. That is a death marker, and it's stamped right into the bond. But beneath the physical story, there's a fog creeping in, the kind that blurs truth and illusion until love itself becomes the trap. Neptune, god of the sea, Bellerophon, and Narcissist asteroids all conjunct her north node, and her north node sits in the 8th house, the house of death. So when multiple bodies hit the north node, it's not a coincidence. Whatever the other person places on your north node, it becomes the storyline or the theme of the relationship. Now, Neptune brings illusion, fog, and the fantasy of who she believed he was. It pulls into something deceptive and unsafe beneath the surface. And his narcissist sitting there, that speaks for itself. And Bellerophon, that energy is tied to reckless actions and fatal accidents. So together, this describes the theme of the bond. There's deception, there's ego, and there's a deadly unraveling disguised as destiny because of the Bellerophon, the fatal energies. And just when you think that the illusion can't get any deeper, the chart drags it back to the surface, to the body, to the meeting point of the bride and a painful marriage. His groom asteroid and Chiron conjuncts her ascendant within 3 degrees. What he brings to her is himself and the pain that comes with him. But the pain doesn't stay hidden. It rises, visible for the world to see, because his Jupiter and Lachesis are conjuncting her midheaven within 2 degrees. Lachesis is a death marker, and Jupiter amplifies whatever it touches. So death here is enlarged, exposed, impossible to contain. And on the midheaven, this becomes public. So this is not a private loss. This is a tragedy the entire country witnessed. The midheaven shows what the world ultimately sees, and this relationship ended in death on a national stage. But even that wasn't the final note. The chart keeps showing endings because finale, a death asteroid that is tied to endings and finalization, is conjunct her south node within 2 degrees. That shows what is taken from her, the end of her life, the closing of the story between the two of them. Her Ixion, the murder asteroid, sits in Scorpio, and it's ruled by Pluto, the modern ruler of death. It's in the 7th house of committed relationships. So when you ask who carries responsibility on the chart, the answer sharpens because his Scott asteroid sextiles her Ixion exactly at 0 degrees. His name is astrologically wired into the murder signature. This is not a coincidence. His Andraka An asteroid tied to predatory and dark instincts is conjunct his north node natally within 2 degrees. Whatever sits on the north node becomes the defining theme of a life, the basic pattern, and his life is fused with evilness and darkness, and it's not an event here. It's in his storyline. So just when it seems the darkness can't go any deeper, this chart threads one last strand. The family, the child, and the home itself. It's woven into the same fatal pattern because this gave me chills when I saw it. There's an asteroid named Connor, the name they planned to give their son. That asteroid is conjunct his north node. So the child's name is bonded into the defining theme of his life path. His Andreka, the asteroid tied to evil and wrongdoing, is conjunct her Connor asteroid. So the name of the child is directly linked to a marker of harm, evilness, and darkness. Her Connor is then tied back into his north node, all of this in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the ancient lord of death. And Saturn is in her 4th house, the house of the home and family. This is not abstract symbolism. This is the child, the family, and death woven into the same storyline. This is chilling as well. His asteroid, Stibia, which literally ties to themes of stabbing, conjuncts her IC, the root of the chart, the home base, where life and death both begin and end. That's chilling. It's chilling symbolism because the IC isn't just about home. It's the foundation. The IC is the private world, the place where you're supposed to feel safe. And that's exactly where this violence happened, right inside of her home. Now, when the house itself becomes the grave, there's only one curtain left to fall, the marriage itself, written in sorrow. Her bride asteroid and Melpomene, the muse of tragedy, both conjuncts his descendant. The angle of partnership. It's on the cusp of the house that rules committed relationships. That's chilling symbolism as well. There's marriage. Melpomene marks sorrow. And together on the descendant, it's the signature of a union that would end in tragedy. This is a marriage sealed in fate and a chart that didn't lie. So, I hope you enjoyed this interpretation, and this wraps it up for me on these two together, and he's still in prison. So, I will be back shortly with other Synastry charts and natal, and like, share, and subscribe to support my channel.